Good afternoon, students. Today we discuss the next topic of our second chapter, the end of bipolarity. Today we discuss about the Soviet system, why the Soviet system became stagnant, what were the reasons behind the backwardness of the economy of USSR. Then we discuss about the role of Mikhail Gorbachev in the disintegration of USSR, and then we discuss about the causes and the effects of the disintegration of USSR. Still, we have discussed that the Cold War was took place after the end of Second World War, after 1945 to 1991. In this period, both the superpower had to take control over the world. They wanted to dominate the world by their ideologies and by their weapons. So, let us start that the Soviet system on verge of stagnation. Soviet Union was at per means equal with the USA as far as arms race was concerned. You know that after the end of Second World War, the First World was called United States of America and the Second World was called that United Soviet Socialist Republic, which came into existence after the Socialist Revolution in 1917. But it was done at a great cost. It lagged behind, it means USSR lagged behind the West in technology and infrastructure. It even failed to realize the socio-economic and political aspirations of its people. The invasion of Afghanistan in 1979 further weakened the Soviet economy, leading it to the verge of stagnation. So, in this topic, we discuss that what were the basic reasons behind that is integration of USSR. Why the Soviet party failed to fulfill the socio-economic and political aspirations of its people. Why that there was an invasion over Afghanistan and it led to crisis in USSR. Let us start that Gorbachev and the disintegration of USSR. Mikhail Gorbachev became the General Secretary of the Communist Party of Soviet Union in 1985. At that time, reforms were needed to keep the USSR abreast of the information and technology of the world. Gorbachev's decision to normalize relations with the West and democratize and reform the Soviet Union brought some unexpected results. So, Mikhail Gorbachev wanted to make good relation with the West because he wanted to modernize USSR, because he wanted that USSR would be like as the United States of America in the matter of economy, in the matter of technology, in the matter of infrastructure. That was the reason that Mikhail Gorbachev followed or implemented a lot of policies to modernize the United Soviet Socialist Republic. Gorbachev's policies of economic and political reform and democratization were opposed by leaders within the Communist Party. The policies of Gorbachev was criticized by its own leader, by its own supporter, as well as by the people of USSR. Why? What was the reason that people of USSR they denied to adopt the policies of Gorbachev? Because the people of USSR wanted a radical change in the economy, but the initiatives which were taken by Gorbachev were not as quick as the people want. People did not want the old style of ruling, and Boris Yeltsin emerged as a national hero in opposing the coup. So who was the leader? Who became the leader of the disintegration of USSR? That Boris Yeltsin. Yes. In December 1991, under the leadership of Yeltsin, Russia, Ukraine and Belarus, these were the three republics which declared that Soviet Union was disbanded. Yes, these were the three major republics which declared that USSR was disbanded from December 1991. Next, we discussed that what were the causes behind the disintegration of USSR. Internal weakness of Soviet political and economic advancement was responsible for the collapse of Soviet system. As we discussed in the previous lecture that there was a military blocks between USA and USSR. A huge amount of money was expended to maintain the nuclear weapon and maintain of their army. So there was economic backwardness in the United Soviet Socialist Republic. The Soviet system was under huge economic burden. Why? Because it used much of its resources in maintaining a nuclear and military arsenal and the development of its satellite states in the Eastern Europe. These were the important reasons behind the economic backwardness of USSR. The Soviet Union had become stagnant in an administrative and political sense as well, because the rule of Communist Party became very autocratic and bureaucratic. People had no faith, people had no political right, people had not right to speak against the bad policies of the government. The Communist Party had a complete control over Soviet Union. Party failed to fulfill the aspirations of the public, and Communist Party was not responsible to the people, although he ruled over the country for more than 72 years. So these point shows that what was the condition in USSR, that on one side economic backwardness, on the other side that people had no right to speak and no political right in that country. So these reasons became the cause of the disintegration of Soviet Union. Next one is that Gorbachev implemented policies of perestroika, it means restructuring, and the glasnost, it means openness. Then the citizens of the Soviet Union came to know that Soviet Union lagged behind the West in terms of economy and infrastructure. The citizens lost interest in communist system and becoming more aware of this fact. Yes, when the Gorbachev implemented the policy of restructuring and the openness, then the people of USSR, they came to know about the economic and infrastructure progress of the West. Then people had no interest in the rule of Soviet Party. Soviet Union created problems for itself by doing military interference in Afghanistan in 1979 during the period of Brezhnev. The rise of nationalism and the desire for sovereignty within various republics proved to be the final and most immediate cause of the disintegration of USSR. If the question will come that what were the immediate cause of the behind the disintegration of USSR, so first of all, rise of nationalism, and second thing that sovereignty, that the different republics, because Warsaw Pact was signed by the 15 republics, and those 15 republics wanted to emerge on the world stage as a sovereign country, then they take their decision independently. So these were the important cause behind the disintegration of United Soviet Socialist Republic. Next we discuss about the consequences of the disintegration of USSR. As you know that after the Second World War there was a new war started. There was a period which was started between the two superblocks, USA and USSR, that was Cold War. But when USSR was disintegrated in December 1991, then the Cold War came to an end, because if the one superpower was collapsed and one remained, then the end of Cold War. So after the disintegration of USSR, it means the end of Cold War confrontations. The disintegration of the Soviet Union brought an end to the Cold War confrontations. Now there is no rivalry between the allies and between the two superpowers. The US became the master of the world, it means the sole superpower. The end of the Soviet bloc meant the emergence of many new countries in the world, because you know that Warsaw Pact was signed by the 15 major republics. Now this was the time when the different countries, they came to the world stage and played their own role. End of the massive arms race. Both superpower spend a lot of money, a huge amount of money for maintenance on their weapons or maintain their army. But after the end of confrontation brought a ray of hope that there will be end to this arms race and peace would be established. Supremacy of the capitalist ideology. Cold War was not a rivalry between the two nations. This was the rivalry of the ideologies also, that capitalist versus socialist. But after the disintegration of USSR, now it proved that in the world that liberalized capitalist model is the best model of economy in the world. This was already proved that after the disintegration of Soviet Union and conflict between capitalist and communist ideology was over, and the unipolar system was began after the end of Soviet system and emergence of single superpower on the world in the world. So students, today we discuss that what were the major reasons behind the disintegration of USSR. This is very important question regarding our CBSE board examination. And second, we discuss that what were the effects of the disintegration of USSR over the world. And we also discuss about that who was Mikhail Gorbachev and why the people of USSR said that this person was responsible behind the disintegration of USSR. Thank you and have a nice day.